Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Naja Atitijani, and top on the agenda is security as the extraordinary meeting summoned by President Muhammadu Buhari on national security is to reconvene on Tuesday. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the meeting is critically analyzing the prevailing challenges of security bedeviling the country.
The crucial meeting was convened in response to the renewed attacks in parts of the country by insurgents, bandits and other criminal elements undermining national security. President Muhammadu Buhari, who summoned the meeting, is seriously worried over the deteriorating security situation and is determined to do everything within his power towards finding lasting solutions. At the meeting were Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo, Chief of Staff to the President, Secretary to the Governor of the Federation, Ministers of Defense, Interior and Police Affairs, as well as the National Security Advisor. Others include the service chiefs led by the Chief of Defense Staff, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Directors General, Department of State Services and the National Intelligence Agency, as well as Chief of Defense Intelligence. Participants extensively debated the worrisome security situation, challenges associated with containment efforts, and what needs to be done urgently to restore peace, law and order across Nigeria. No official statement was released so far as the meeting reconvenes on Tuesday next week. NTA News will keep you posted on the outcome of the meeting when concluded. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And following recent incessant attacks, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru, has visited Maiduguri, Borno State to reassure troops of the President's commitment to their welfare and provision of equipment to end the Boko Haram crisis. The sustained visit to the Theatre Command of Operation Laifia Adoli by the Army Chief is also part of efforts at building the resilience of troops in the war front. Maimuna Garba reports.
The frequent visit by Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru to the Northeast Theatre of War is to keep in touch with troops on the front line and boost their morale to enable them effectively execute the counter-insurgency operations. General Attahiru reiterated the military's continued resolve to contain the security challenges not only in Operation Laifia Adoli, but across all the theaters in the country, stressing the President's commitment to providing the needed resources to address the insecurity. Reacting to Mainok attack last Sunday, the Chief of Army Staff said the military is focused on its operations.
Well, in a military operation is a duel. We have defeated Boko Haram severally. If for one time they came and we lose certain equipments, even though we were never defeated, I can assure you that we'll overcome, notwithstanding whatever had happened. We will take on Boko Haram decisively.
The Chief of Army Staff and top commanders Operation Laifia Adoli held a closed-door meeting where Theatre Commander Major General Farouk Yahaya briefed him on the counter-insurgency war. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru, later visited wounded soldiers receiving treatment at 7th Division Hospital, where he commended their gallantry, assuring them of the military's support at all times. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Senate Committee on the Nigerian Army has resolved to meet with the Minister of Finance and Service Chiefs on Tuesday next week over the release of funds to security agencies, particularly the Nigerian Army. This was during the committee's interaction with representative of the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning. John Yaku reports.
The central issue for the interaction was to receive brief from the Ministry on release of funds to the Nigerian Army amidst rising insecurity in the country. The bone of contention, however, is the summary of budgetary releases to Operation Laifia Adoli and Operations Hadarin Daji, which showed that it was 100% from 2019 to 2020.
2019, 75 billion was appropriated, the same was released 100%. If you look at the second line there was even a supplementation from the service-wide vote, apart from the appropriation, which was released 100%. We have released 19.7 for the first quarter. Just yesterday, we have released 19.9.
However, A letter from the Army to the committee, on the other hand, shows that there was a shortfall of 50 billion naira.
If you say you have made a release of 100%, here is a letter indicating that from the time of the introduction of Operation Lafia Dole, they have a shortfall outstanding of 50 billion. So if you are paying them 100%, how come do they have a shortage of 50 billion?
This, the committee believes, is capable of hampering the operations of the army in tackling the rising insecurity in the country. The committee therefore resolved that the issue cannot be settled in the absence of the minister and service chiefs, as they were invited to appear before the committee on the same day. It also resolved that the minister should appear with details of release of funds to who, dates, and for what purpose such releases were made from 2019 to date. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
The commander, Nigerian Navy ship Lokoja, Commodore Clement Ebinta Atebi, has restated the command's commitment to protecting Nigeria's waterways to stem the activities of criminals along the coast of the River Niger. This was while parading 2 suspects of crude oil theft arrested by the commander and handed over to the state commander of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps in Lokoja, Kogi State. Correspondent Solomon Ayede reports.
The 2 suspects, Kelechi Emezim and Adamu Mohammed, while confessing to the crime, explained that they were contracted in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, to load the 304 bags of liquid substance suspected to be black oil into a boat en route Lokoja by one Dan Asabe, who is currently at large.
I'm hearing that it's a crime to carry crude oil, but I was told that it's Kolota. That is why I followed my friend. He's the one that told me that the man called him to come and offload goods. So that is why I'm begging God to help me.
Commander NNS Lugard Lokoja, Commodore Clement Ebinta Atebi, who described the crime as a crude oil theft, said the 2 suspects were arrested along the coast of River Niger near Itobe in the eastern flank of Kogi State when offloading the illegal substance.
In line with the Chief of the Naval Staff Directive, Vice Admiral A.Z. Gambo, his strategic directive, which was released in February 2021, was clear on the issue of zero tolerance for crude oil theft. So it was on that background that I sent my officers and men on patrol of the River Niger, and then they were able to run into these criminals. It is no longer business as usual.
The newly deployed NNS Lugard commander warned criminal elements and their cohorts operating along the coast of River Niger to refrain or face the wrath of the law. He also advised Nigerian youths to channel their energy positively for sustainable development of the country. The suspects have been handed over to the State Command, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, for prosecution. In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
The governors of Ekiti and Kebbi states, representing the Nigeria Governors Forum and the Progressives Governors Forum, are seeking collaboration with the Nigeria Police Force in tackling security challenges affecting the nation. Francis Form reports that the governors met behind closed doors with the acting IGP in his office.
This is the second time governors are visiting the acting IGP, Usman Baba Al-Khali, since assumption of office. Discussions at the meeting centered on how to stem the tide of insecurity that the country is grappling with.
There's hardly any state you go to, as I'm sure the IG will confirm to you, where governors are not supporting the police command in the state. We are always working with our police. It's understandable anyway. They are helping us too. So it's a quid pro quo.
A lot of us expect them to do magic, and little do we realize that they are also human beings that we need to support, we need to appreciate.
At least you have seen that we have been recognized, we have been honored, we've been appreciated, and that is the best thing you can get from your leaders.
The acting IGP says such visit will encourage the force to do more in the fight against crime and criminality. Francis Form, NTA News.
The President has condoled families of citizens who lost their loved ones in the recent spate of killings in Benue State. The report.
Thursday, Garba Shehu. The president notes with disappointment and sadness to hear Samuel Ortom, the governor of Benue State, makes a litany of accusations against his person and his government, following the recent unfortunate incidents in the state, arguing that no responsible government takes pleasure in the killing of its military and that of innocent citizens taking refuge in an internally displaced people's camp. President Buhari says he is deeply pained by the terrible acts of violence happening not only in Benue State, but also in other parts of the country, and expects that the law enforcement agencies will go to every possible extent to fish out the perpetrators of these heinous acts and bring them to justice. He notes that lives of citizens should not be desecrated by deploying them in political diatribe, which unfortunately appeared to be the intent of the string of emotional attacks and blame laid at the doors of the president by Governor Ortom following the killings. President Buhari took an oath to defend the life and property of every citizen, a duty he takes seriously and is committed to upholding. Those citizens, regardless of their affiliations, who either incite, sponsor, or are proven to be arbiters of these atrocities will face the law, and much more will be answerable for their crimes against citizens and nation. President Buhari continuously stresses that the strength of our country lies in our diversity in faith, culture, and traditions, and attempts to sharpen the divide between northern and southern Nigeria, Muslim and Christians, and between communities that have coexisted for centuries should be frowned upon and resisted. As Nigerians, we accuse colonial rulers of the policy of divide and rule. Today, it is our own leaders who put region against region, religion against religion, ethnic group against ethnic group, and community against community. The future of Benue State, and indeed that of the entire country, lies in harmony and respect for law and the Constitution, which are only sure way to achieve progress and development. The statement also said, while the president will continue to keep security, police and the armed forces on their toes, appealed to everyone to work together on the foundation of progress to achieve prosperity. It further said Benue State, under the Ortom administration, ought to cooperate with the federal government in the implementation of a number of national strategies and programs in addressing underlying issues militating against peace, progress, and development, adding that this can still get done when the interest of the people is placed above all other interests, as governments voted into office by the people should treat the people as its masters and not as servants.
And away from security matters now, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the reappointment of Segun Runshowe as the Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, indicates that the reappointment is for another 4-year term. Similarly, Folorunsho Kuka has been reappointed as the Director General, Nigeria Tourism Development Corporation, and Adedayo Thomas as Executive Director, National Film and Video Censors Board. Ahmed Mohamed Ahmed has been appointed as the Chief Executive Officer, Artistic Director of the National Troupe of Nigeria for a first term of 4 years. You're watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We'll take a break. There'll be more reports when we return. Thanks for staying tuned. Now let's join our Makudi Network Center, where Fatima is standing by with more reports. It's good to see you, Fatima.
Makudi. For its international appeal and excellence performance, the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, has presented certificates to Kwahi Puppet Theatre Group. Executive Secretary of National Institute of Cultural Organization, Ado Mohammed, presented the certificate at Government House, Makudi. Charles Abba reports that with this Kwahi inscription, Nigeria now has 5 cultural heritage on the UNESCO representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity.
The Kwahi Puppet Theatre of the Tiv Nation has continued to and demonstration of culture in diverse ways. This has drawn the attention of the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, and the National Institute of Cultural Organization in assessing its performance and considering it for award of Certificate of Excellence. Executive Secretary, National Institute of Cultural Organization, Ado Mohammed Yahuze, who presented the certificate to the Deputy Governor, Benson Abono, said the Kwahi Theatre has been chosen by many countries for its dynamism in the development of culture. The UNESCO representative explained that the essence of the award is not only for Kwahi's promotion of peace, but to encourage the theatre not to relent in its intellectualism. The Deputy Governor, Benson Abono, who described the award as a milestone in the history of Benue State, said, culture defines a nation, and that Kwahi portrays moral issues through animated format.
As a state, we will continue to partner with both the National Institute and the National Commission in order to develop and grow various cultures of Nigeria.
He specifically thanked the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism, UNICO and UNESCO, pledging that the state will continue to participate in cultural activities. In Makudi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
On security matters, internally displaced persons in Benue State have appealed to the relevant authorities to beef up security in the various camps to prevent further attacks on them. Blessing Omeche Ebute visited the Abagana internally displaced persons camp and brings an update.
Few days ago, gunmen attacked the Abagana internally displaced persons camp in Makudi, which left 7 persons dead and many wounded. This led to the blocking of the highway by youths protesting the attack.
This is the internally displaced persons camp in Abagana, Makudi local government area of Benue State. This camp before now houses over 8,000 IDPs until the unfortunate incident which occurred on the 26th of April 2021, leaving less than 2,000 members in this camp. I have with me here Mr. Dennis Baki, who will tell us what exactly transpired on that particular night.
We were displaced from our ancestral homes to come and seek refuge here. And coming here, no, there is no security for us. So this is enough for us. We are tired.
These attackers came directly here, and you can see, if you look at that window there, there is a bullet that came and broke that window. So the government should mobilize adequate security to the camp, not only this camp, all the IDP camps in Benue State, so that they will be secured. They will live without fears.
As at the time of filing this report, only a few IDPs were on ground, as others have fled the camp out of fear of a repeat of the attack.
We've reported to all the security agencies, and at daytime you see that securities are being patrolled here, but the IDP said at night there are no securities that stays here with them, and that brings panic and fear. So they've been leaving the camp.
In Makudi, Blessing Omeche Ebute, NTA News.
And that's our contributions from Makudi. Nationwide continues with Najatu in Abuja.
Thank you, Fatima. NTA StarTimes is rewarding loyalty and patronage as it reaches out to customers with different packages in the spirit of Ramadan. Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila reports that beneficiaries were randomly selected from customers' premises.
Priestley Osiosefe, a cleric, and Usman Aliyu, a trader, are both StarTimes subscribers in the FCT for many years. Their loyalty and patronage were instantly rewarded as StarTimes keys into the spirit of Ramadan fast. The beneficiaries, just like Priestley and Usman, are excited that the unexpected gesture will motivate and enhance patronage of StarTimes.
I've turned a marketer because like 2 of my person very close to me, they use StarTimes.
Using the StarTimes because StarTimes is actually good, and
The service is very, very okay.
We really, and everybody in the house there, we enjoyed it. Even there was a time we wanted to change, they said no, StarTimes is the best.
The humanitarian intervention StarTimes says is to assist subscribers observing the Ramadan fast and cushion economic hardship.
Accessibility, StarTimes stands out. We are known for constantly improving our content platform so that every subscriber can enjoy, because a lot of variety is the spice of life. Everybody has a particular content that they enjoy, and StarTimes keeps on increasing its content.
Satisfied Priestley and others seem not only to be getting value for their patronage of StarTimes, but also reward for their choice. In Abuja, Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
Thank you, Abdurrahman. I personally love ST Kung Fu on StarTimes. Now, internal adoption of performance management systems will lead to total cultural change and enhanced service delivery in the public civil service. This was the submission of the head of the Civil Service of the Federation at the April edition of the Lunchtime Reform Seminar in Abuja. Adebola Brooksland Sunday reports.
In 2017, the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation articulated a prioritized strategy drawing on lessons learned from the implementation of past reforms and best practices. The Lunchtime Reform Seminar is to x-ray the strategy and implementation plan, performance management system, as well as successor and mentorship program. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemiesan, represented in a paper presentation, said the service is working assiduously towards the actualization of the set goals.
Effective governance of the civil service as an institution, organizational efficiency and effectiveness, professional and result-oriented civil servants, ethical and accountable workforce, and improved competencies in civil servants.
Public service post-COVID-19 need to support the implementation and adoption of federal government's e-government master plan that will promote infrastructural development, digitalization of government processes and documentation.
Participants deliberated on the need to fully automate the service, abolish all forms of godfatherism, and holistic implementation of policies.
A lot of policies on ground that civil servants have sat down to formulate based on the love for the country, but why wouldn't they implement that? The issue of godfatherism also is an age-long problem that has become so pronounced these days, and it has led to indiscipline in the service.
The 2017-2020 Strategy and Implementation Plan, which expired last year, is undergoing modification with input from key players for re-adoption. Adeb Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
And more good news for civil servants as the federal government has reiterated its commitment to providing adequate housing for civil servants across the country. The Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, gave the assurance while inspecting the housing estate at Unidundun in Akinyele local government area of Oyo State. Shola Wahid reports.
72 units of Unidundu housing estate contain 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms of detached and semi-detached units. The minister, while inspecting the houses, charged contractors handling the construction work to speed up completion for people to occupy the buildings to ease the challenges of accommodation.
With regards to housing, we need to give something more. People are falling behind on their rent. People are facing eviction because they cannot pay rent and so on and so forth. There are sadly empty houses also. In the midst of plenty, there is scarcity. So we think that if individuals who own the houses, private sector who own the houses, reduce the demand for 3 years, 4 years, 2 years rent, it's a way of giving back.
He explained that more housing units will be provided at strategic locations in the country for the benefits of the people. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
And to health matters now. Nigerians have been given reassurance about vaccines generally having the ability to prevent and eradicate diseases. This reassurance was given by guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria. Thomas Obetere reports.
The slow patronage of COVID-19 vaccine is indicative of vaccine hesitance among Nigerians, according to the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19. Guests on the program believe there is need for Nigerians to change their perception about vaccines to avoid unnecessary suffering and deaths.
There are so many causes of diseases. Some of them have the vaccines and some don't have. And like the theme of this year, World Immunization Week, which says vaccine brings us closer in the way that we are closer to a healthier world, a healthier environment, a more productive world.
They agree that vaccines have distinctive advantage over every other form of health intervention and are known to protect the body naturally against diseases.
Please go ahead and take the vaccines. It is always much wiser to take the vaccine and avoid all the troubles than to wait until you regret later.
You've mentioned smallpox, that's eradicated. Polio now, it's only in 2 countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan, in the world, and Nigeria has led the way in that sense and shown to Pakistan and Afghanistan that what can be done.
There was, however, consensus that it is not proper to vaccinate people with chronic diseases in most cases, but more awareness is required on the efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccine. In Abuja, Thomas Ogbetere, NTA News.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has confirmed 62 new cases of COVID-19 in the country. In the latest figures released by the center, Lagos has 38 new infections. Kaduna and Ondo states have recorded 6 new cases each, while Ogun State has 3 new cases. Others are the FCT, Akwa Ibom and Rivers states with 2 new infections each, while Edo, Kano and Oyo states complete the day's tally with 1 new infection each. Nigeria now has a total of 165,055 confirmed cases of COVID-19, out of which 155,041 have been treated and discharged, while 2,063 persons have died of the virus. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Umar Farouk, says the ministry is ready to take input from key stakeholders to improve its services, especially the management of humanitarian needs. She stated this during a ministerial briefing before the Senate Committee on Special Duties. Dayo Ogunshola reports.
In the wake of COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development was among government institutions in the forefront of cushioning the impact of the pandemic. On this basis, the Senate Committee on Special Duties invited the minister for briefing.
Let it be known that the committee is not on a mission to investigate or witch hunt anyone, but rather on a fact-finding mission to see how the Presidential Task Force, the Ministry, the National Emergency Management Agency has fared in the process of discharging their duties and responsibilities as enshrined in the National Emergency Management Agency Act.
Members of the committee, while reviewing the operation of the ministry, asked questions on displaced persons, management of victim support funds, and distribution of relief materials.
Non-monetary donations and distribution of disaster relief. The ministry received major food and non-food items, relief materials from the Nigerian Customs Service, as I mentioned, and others, and the distribution of the items, which was widespread, was given to the state governments according to Mr. President's directives.
The ministry promised to build on current experience to cover more grants. From the National Assembly, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
And still on health, delegates at the 61st Annual General Conference and Meeting of the Nigerian Medical Association holding in Jos say a focused and resilient health system must be developed and sustained to ensure productivity and improve quality healthcare delivery in Nigeria. Zenret Dingmon completes the story.
Which has Nigeria and the Global Health Agenda 2030 as theme, is beaming its searchlight on advancing the core values of innovation, creativity, strength of character, networking, team spirit and collaboration for efficient healthcare delivery. In realization of this, participants are meeting in Jos to evaluate their performance and identify gaps for appropriate intervention to improve the quality of healthcare.
The COVID-19 pandemic has thoroughly exposed the weaknesses of the entire global health system. All developmental issues are predicated on the pandemic.
President Muhammadu Buhari represented, lauded the timeliness of the theme and saluted the efforts of Nigerian health workers who daily put their lives on the line saving others.
And while we must prepare for public health emergencies and emerging diseases, we must not forget that we have this albatross around our neck to improve on our health indices.
I want to appeal to all of you to please consider the lives of the average Nigerian whom you have sworn to preserve as you sustain your demands for better deals for your members.
As a state, we are doing our best to key into the efforts of the federal government to improve healthcare funding and delivery in Nigeria.
Goodwill messages came from various stakeholders, calling on participants to deliberate on issues that will move the sector forward. In Jos, Zenret Dingmoon, NTA News.
Thank you, Zenret. It's time to join our Lagos Network Center where Adiola is standing by. Hello, Adiola. It's over to you now.
Well, good to see you. Now, as part of efforts to flatten the curve of COVID-19 and also ensure quality healthcare to residents irrespective of socio-economic status, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has commissioned additional oxygen plant and blood transfusion service office at Bagada General Hospital in Lagos. Musa Toliat reports.
The medical oxygen plant commissioned is targeted at complementing the already existing 10 oxygen plants in the state. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said the project is part of the robust transformation plan to enhance infrastructural development in the health sector.
Although these critical facilities were set up to effectively address the challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic, they have become a critical resource and component of our health sector infrastructure that will cater for the health challenges that not only related to COVID, but all of the health issues that we have in the state.
We have a shortage of blood in Lagos, so by making this place the headquarters of the blood transfusion center, we repurposed the facility that was developed for COVID, and that's been our strategy.
The plant has capacity to produce 100 bottles of oxygen cylinders in a day. The governor also commissioned a triage and oxygen center and blood transfusion service. Governor Sanwo-Olu hinted that as part of the health transformation plan, 5 general hospitals are currently being renovated simultaneously across the state. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Care for widows and orphans is an integral part of the Islamic faith, which enhances the well-being of the faithful and a pathway to Al-Jannah. This was the focus at the Ramadan lecture organized by the Muslim community of the Nigeria Police Zone 2 Command in Lagos. Imolia Yotokede Ogunfowora has details.
Ramadan is the 9th month in Islamic calendar in which Muslims are commanded to observe obligatory fasts. In this blessed month, the faithful is enjoined to carry out good deeds and step up charitable acts to maximize rewards from Allah. Scholars at the Ramadan lecture emphasized that care for the orphan is mentioned 22 times in the Quran, and that anyone who maltreats such a person commits what is considered serious sin in Islam.
Allah says in the verse of the Quran, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْيَتَامَى. They are asking you regarding the orphans. Then tell them, إِصْلَاحُ لَهُمْ خَيْرٌ. Doing things in their best interest is the best.
Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 2, Ahmed Ilyasu, encouraged Muslim faithful to be steadfast and promote peaceful coexistence during and after the month of Ramadan.
We'll continue to do our best. We'll continue to look after the orphans. the widows, and those who are in need of help, who are sick, the young and the small children who have lost their fathers, these are the orphans, even those who have grown up.
In accordance with Islamic injunction, widows of police officers smiled home with gifts to alleviate their plight.
It was a surprise to us, and I pray that it is their hand they will use to collect their entitlement.
As the Ramadan fast continues, the AIG is charging police officers to be selfless, committed to duty, and brace up to fight insecurity in the country. In Lagos, Imole Ayotokede, Ogunfowora, NTA News.
And those are the stories from Lagos. We'll go back now to Abuja, where Najatu is still standing by.
Thank you, Adiola. We'll be talking agric matters now. Fish farming in Nigeria has become very lucrative, with Kwara State becoming a major player in the sector. However, the state government's order to farmers to vacate Asa Dam riverbank is generating misunderstanding between the government and the farmers. Aisha Abubakar Yahya reports.
Ademola Yusuf, a graduate of accounting, ventured into fish farming just last year after 5 years of unsuccessful search for white-collar jobs, and this has changed his life for the better. Ademola, like Moses Bamidele, believes the vacation order by the government would only worsen the high unemployment rates in the state.
Here, that's where we are finding our daily means. They ask us to go. Where do you want us to start over again?
We are burning fuel every day, but if they give us direct pipe and they create their machine there, so when they are taking water from them, definitely we will pay for the water we are using.
The vacation order, according to the State's Ministry of Water Resources, becomes imperative in view of the dangers the activities of the fish farmers pose to Asa Dam, the ecosystem, and the farmers themselves.
250 away from our river bank. They did not observe it. Can any government be looking at them? And if the national disaster started, they will not say, government did not assist us. Governments will come to their aid. And we have to take a proactive measure now to avoid natural disaster.
Those involved are expected to reach an amicable resolution and safeguard farmers' means of livelihood without compromising the health of the general public. Aisha Abubakar Yahya, NTA News.
And now let's join our Enugu Network Center, where Chinenye is standing by with more reports.
Many thanks, Naja Atu, and welcome to Enugu. As Nigeria continues to contend with the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the management of the Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, has sustained necessary preventive measures at ensuring strict compliance with the various COVID-19 protocols, as monitored by Chika Ugu in this report.
Despite news making the rounds of the second wave and potential third wave of coronavirus across the world, many seem to have laid down the guards in ensuring prevention of the dreaded disease, especially with the invention of the vaccine. The airport is usually one flashpoint for easy infection of the disease, with movement of people from within and outside the state and country. Although management of the Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, declined comment on the situation, it was, however, gathered that travelers are still maintaining COVID-19 safety protocols. From the entrance of the airport, a team is strategically positioned to ensure passengers sanitize their hands and bags, as well as have their temperatures checked. They also ensure face masks are properly worn. At the arrival and departure lounge, seating arrangements are properly coordinated to ensure social distancing.
The young man at the gates, I wanted to enter he just said, "Madam, please, first of all, sanitize your hands." And my temperature was taken.
I think they are complying. At least they ensure that people come up with their face masks and ensure that people, cleanse their hands before coming in.
Air travelers also appealed for the reopening of the international wing, noting that the stringent measures and COVID-19 response activities enforced in the airports will prevent the spread of the virus and limit chances of the third wave in the country. In Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
The Southeast Support Group for Professor Issa Ali Pantami, Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, has advised Nigerians not to politicize the statements made by Professor Pantami, especially after he has apologized for the comments he made in the past. The support group stated this at a press briefing in Enugu. James Oparekocha reports.
The group said politicizing the Professor Issa Pantami issue along ethnic and religious lines, as some people are desperately trying to make it, is not in the best interest of the country. They noted that the minister has recanted his previous stance, attributing it to useful exuberance. They pleaded with Nigerians to rather focus more on the good jobs the minister is doing today for the nation.
We, the conveners and members of the Southeast Support Group for Professor Issa Ali Pantami, are here to lend our voice to the presidency and Pantami. We do not think the issue should be politicized along ethnic and religious lines, as some people are desperately trying to make it. To err is human, and to forgive is divine.
They insisted that the minister has said he is not a terrorist and should be accepted in its face value.
We therefore call on all and sundry to let the Pantami issue go away.
Conveners of the Southeast Support Group for Pantami, Emeka Akwobi, and Ubo Williams appealed to Nigerians to judge the minister by his present character.
We are here to make that impression for people to believe that he has given a clear indication that he is not a terrorist.
We are here to support our honorable minister and nothing but that.
In the last couple of weeks, the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Professor Issa Pantami, has been under intensive media focus over comments attributed to him in the past. The presidency has since then said it was totally in support of the minister and urged those fighting him to back down, as they are satisfied with his performance as the Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In Enugu, James Oparekocha, NTA News.
And that is it from Enugu. Nationwide continues with Naja Atu in Abuja.
It's nice to know you're still watching Nationwide on the NTA. The Senate Committee on Local Content says Nigeria will have an improved legislation which will upgrade the provisions in the nation's oil and gas sector. This was while investigating allegations of foreign domination in the country's oil and gas sector. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Submissions received by the committee were on the experiences of Nigerians in the diving activities and training by foreign oil and gas companies with a view to strengthening the country's diving policy.
Over 60% or 70 or thereabout are jobless. And most of them have changed profession.
All the expatriates that we worked with them and trained with them, we are giving that same certification.
A lot of them are all foreign qualifications, to be absolutely frank, in terms of the people who ascertain the participation of these drivers.
70% employment provision to Nigerians by operators in the country's oil and gas industry, and the inability by Federal Ministry of Labor, Employment and Productivity to inaugurate the Divers Advisory Board were the major areas of concern at the investigative hearing.
The printing and gazetting of regulations then paved the way for implementation in line with the regulatory functions of the ministry.
The regulations were designed to ensure that the diving subsector is properly regulated in view of its strategic importance.
The committee said it will conduct another meeting in order to be in a better position to make appropriate recommendations that will help revamp the country's diving subsector. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Barely 1 month after the fire incident, which razed a substantial part of the Tidumwada Gusau Market, Zamfara State government has compensated victims. The victims received cash assistance based on the value of what they lost in the fire, as a contract for immediate reconstruction of the more than 40 destroyed shops in the market has also been awarded. Jamilu Ibrahim reports.
It will be recalled that a fire outbreak razed a substantial part of the popular Tudunwada Gusau Market, Zamfara State in March this year. This prompted Governor Bello Muhammad to set up a committee under the leadership of a renowned Islamic scholar and the state Sheikh Ahmad Ibn Umar Kanuma, which alongside the State Ministry for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development conducted an assessment and came up with the actual number of traders affected by the inferno and the loss incurred by each and every one of them. Zamfara State government has promptly responded to the plight of the affected businessmen and women. Each of the victims, numbering 67, received cash assistance as a full compensation of what they lost to the inferno.
Nothing is reduced from their claims. Nothing. Every single person amongst them, whatever he or she estimated, is what is given to them.
The gesture, according to Zamfara State government, is to enable the affected traders to resume their business activities with minimal delay, as it also awarded contracts for the reconstruction of the raised portion of the market at the cost of more than 100 million naira. The chairman to the Gusau Market Traders Association and other compensated businessmen who spoke with NTA News expressed gratitude to the Zamfara State government for the immediate intervention.
Though nobody prays for disaster, the inferno has become a blessing to us because we have been overcompensated.
The traders received cash as a full compensation of what they lost to the inferno, ranging from more than 100,000 to 1.7 million naira in Gusau. Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Thank you, Jamilu. Board of Sports Federation dissolved as Eyimba get quarter-final opponents in CAF Confederation Cup.